recently
Yes.
toured the Grounds for Sculpture, which is a special place for you. And I know we have the pictures all teed up, so maybe we can start showing
Yes.
those and you could walk us through them.
Well, Grounds for Sculpture, for those who don't know, is a marvelous gem hidden in Hamilton Township. And they currently have an exhibit going on that's called Night Forms. And
Okay.
these pictures that we're seeing are parts of the exhibit, which is a compilation of lights integrated into the landscape. That one is my favorite.
That's
that purple
beautiful.
walkway. You walk through that and you just feel like you're in this splendor of colored lights and trees.
That is beautiful. And
Yeah.
this exhibit is up and running at the Grounds for Sculpture
Until
until
April, the beginning, I think April 2nd.
April 2nd. So
Yes.
it's available, and with the weather the way it is, you don't have to worry about
Go.
it being too cold.
No.
You know, you can go there and you can take advantage of this.
No, and it's a tour, so there are tour markers that direct you to go to one station and then to the next and to the next. And each of these displays of lights have musical accompaniment.
Really?
So there's a loop. You know, we're looking right there at still images, but these lights change. So what you see is purple and blue becomes yellow and green, and it's like a spectrum. They evolve into color and patterns. Now that one you see of the rainbow, okay.
On the ground,
That's a, yes, this
That
rainbow.
one there.
Okay. That is so weird and weirdly wonderful.
yeah.
There are some icons in the back. They're statues that have heads on them. I don't know who the people are. But at one point, the rainbow appears to be coming out of their mouths and pouring,
onto the
over.
ground.
Yeah, it's like lava. But when you see that they're coming out of their mouths, it's like they have this big long rainbow tongue that just suddenly starts pouring this color all across
Wow.
the stones. Those stones that you see that are lighting up as green are like an amphitheater. You could sit there and watch and observe.
Oh, beautiful.
And then it fills the grounds with this rainbow pattern. And it moves, and there's music.
That movement, that's something we can't appreciate. But still images are beautiful,
Right.
by the way, and I'm so glad you brought them because this is a hidden, nobody knows about this place.
And here's
it's an
the
amazing
beautiful thing. This tour takes
Uh-huh.
about an hour.
Uh-huh.
You walk through, dress warmly. You can go inside and get a cocktail beforehand or some hot cocoa or whatever you choose and walk with it as you go through the grounds.
Okay.
And you stand there for about couple minutes, 2 or 3 minutes before you get the full music for that particular image, and then you move on.
Okay.
You can bring your kids, your parents, the elderly. It is so easy. It's family friendly. It's easy for everybody to enjoy.
That's great.
And then at the end of it, if you are so inclined to eat, ideally go eat at Rats and make certain that you make a reservation in advance because
Talk
they will
about
be
Rats, 'cause
so booked.
That
Now,
place
Rats,
is a very popular restaurant. Talk about that restaurant.
Rats is the restaurant that's on Grounds for Sculpture. Now, I admit I have been there enough times that I know some of the wait staff. So, you know, Marco and Maynard, I see them there, and it's hugs and hello, how have you been? The food is outstanding. The environment is wonderful. The service is impeccable, and the wines and the bar.
The
It's
cuisine
wonderful.
is French, I guess, sort of like European French, but
French-ish. I mean, you can get a burger there.
oh well, okay.
You know, so you can, but you have to make a reservation. Now, I've gone there so many times, like I say, because I live close.
Right.
So I'm very fortunate. I am a member of Grounds for Sculpture, and I do encourage. Membership is reasonable and beneficial. You can make it very worth your while because you can go a few times, and of course, members have privileges. So when there's a show like this, Night Forms, there's an early opening for members who get, you know, the prime.
Kind of get in there ahead of time.
Yes,
And,
and there are discounts as well. Now, my motive for going is not discount. I think it's a lovely place to be. You can sit in nature. You can meet interesting people. They have events throughout the year. So, for example, I think they have something called the Epicurean Palette. All local chefs and vineyards come and bring their best whatever, and you pay, and then you do tastings throughout the entire facility where they're housed. You know, the peacocks are on the grounds when it's warmer.
Great.
My kids have fed the peacocks, and they're just beautiful.
Uh-huh.
So,
Well,
and
that
then
family-friendly part of it is one of the big draws. I mean,
all of it's
absolutely,
family-friendly.
totally open. It's accessible if somebody has a problem walking. They have wheelchair access. They've got all that.
Yes.
They've considered that. I know that it's the Seward Johnson family, the family trust, I guess, that pays for this. Seward Johnson is famous for sculpting larger than life. You can see the statues from 295 as you're driving by the grounds for sculpture.
Right.
And you know, when there isn't an event going on, it's worth going just to tour some of the amazing things that they have on exhibit there.
In the main building, for example, as soon as you walk in, they have a replica of the accountant from 9/11, where all the debris and he was
the guy with the briefcase,
Still
double
standing.
check. I think that's one of my favorite statues. It's in bronze at the World Trade Center site and survived the collapses of the
Well,
building.
they have a replica of that whole scenario, and it's really poignant. And then if you go into the gallery, they have displays topical things that that change. For example, I think there's one now in space, but they have the Marilyn Monroe prototype. You know, the big Marilyn Monroe
with the skirt
dress
blowing
flying
up.
up.
Yep.
So they have the prototype there, so you can see process of how it started and then what it became is of course mammoth. What's interesting is there's just one little room in there that's like a cartoon. So you can sit on the bed and it looks like you are in a cartoon.
Oh, really?
It's very cool. You know, it's definitely meant for pictures.
Oh, great.
And then you weave through, and there's another little tribute to all first responders. So they have hats and some flowers and whatnot. So it's
beautiful.
It's a lovely place. The gift shop has unique items in it. I can't say enough wonderful things about it. And I encourage anybody who's either visiting, check it out.
Right.
And if you're local, bring your family, friends, and anybody who's visiting to see it, because it's like nothing else.
Now, Rats, Mark, and I met at Rats. I remember
did.
that was where we first met. That was 4 years ago. And if you just go to Rats and have dinner, there's a small part.
Yes, there's
I mean, you
outdoor seating.
after dinner, you could walk around a little bit and part of the grounds.
Yes.
And that's an amazing experience in itself. It's beautiful with water features and beautifully landscaped and these terrific sculptures that you could look at. And one more whimsical and amazing than the next. They're really impressive.
Yeah, it's hard to capture the essence of what you experience in words, but I've done my best. It is a remarkable place, and the staff who organize now, one of my pals is Karen Hollywood. You know, I told her we'd be speaking about this today, but truly, the staff is accommodating and lovely, and they really appreciate the splendor of what is around them and feel it.
And they do, and so they love what they do, and you feel that.
They do.
And if you have questions, they're
answer.
great, they're supportive, and they're helpful, and
Yes.
and it's not expensive. I mean, you said you're a member, and
I'm
you've
a
been
member.
a member, and membership it's affordable. It's the kind of thing, and yet there are family memberships.
I think it is. There are tiers of membership, but you don't have to be a member to go. That's the beauty of it. You can go as someone who is a non-member.
Will you visit any other museum?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I like being a non-member. I like supporting its cause. I think it's bringing the arts alive and well back to a place where it can be appreciated. They have artists that exhibit periodically. I remember Chihuly was there. Chihuly's the guy that does all this blown glass.
Yeah.
When his exhibit was there, oh my goodness, I remember bringing my kids and saying, hold my hand and don't let go, because this is all blown glass. I mean, it was remarkable.
Oh, really?
So there's art in the gallery area. It's integrated into the grounds.
And there are artists working on the grounds. You can actually visit the studios that they're working in.
Yes, my former judo partner, Andrew Padinsky, who has passed away, was one of the guys who built some of those oversized sculptures. In fact, there's a display where you can see, if you go to Rats, it's part of the public area that's available. If you dine there, the dinner party, and he and his buddies actually made another table where he's sitting at it. So they sculpted themselves.
I saw the dinner party.
Yeah, well,
I went there for dinner, and I saw the dinner party exhibit.
Yes.
Which is walkable from Rats.
Yes.
It's just a few, maybe a couple of 100 yards, maybe 100 yards away.
Yes.
Past a whole bunch of things. It's beautifully done.
It
Life-size statues.
But I remember looking at it saying, there's Andrew. And sure enough, on the
There
side,
he is.
Andrew Padinsky, and I thought, my goodness, they made themselves at a table.
That's really cool.
That was hilarious.
That is cool. That's great.
So I highly encourage membership. I encourage a visit. And more than once, you can go all year round. There's something to see all year round. When the flowers are in bloom, it's floral.
So it's always different. They're changing it all
Always
the
different.
time. There's always something new to see, and it's near Princeton in
It's Hamilton.
not Hamilton, New Jersey, not too
Yeah.
far from the train station.
A few minutes.
A few minutes away from the train station, so it's easy to get to.
It's very easy, and there's generous parking too. You know, you go to some museums and cities and whatnot, you have to struggle to find
It's
a
a
parking
mess.
lot.
Yeah, right.
Parking is easy. They make it very easy for you to enjoy the experience.
30 minutes
And-
away from Philadelphia, an hour maybe outside of New York.
Probably an hour, a little, maybe 40 minutes
Okay.
from Philly,
Uh-huh.
but in Hamilton.
Really, I think it's wonderful, and I think it's important to note that the pictures you showed were still pictures, but everything moves. In
They
this
do.
exhibit, the Night Forms.
Night Forms is the name of it.
Yeah.
Last year it was called, I think, Dream Loop from Clip Collective. It's just spectacular.
My favorite thing in art are glass and lights. Those are my two favorite media.
Well, this is
Sounds
light.
like something you have to go to.
This
it
is
really
light,
does.
and it's color, and
Uh-huh.
it's music. In fact, by the Rainbow exhibit, they even have a xylophone where you can take
No
some
kidding. You
things
can
and
kinda-
play it.
Uh-huh.
So there's even an interactivity element to it as well.
Great.
So,
Does it get crowded? I mean, is it kind of, you have to worry about crowds? It looks pretty big, so.
you know, it's funny. Everybody's really respectful in there. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, there were people before us and people after.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they were immersed in looking at something, we just waited a little bit. There's no rush.
fine,
It's
no
not
rush
like
to
you're
walk
on a
through.
clock. Now they do have, it's important to know this. They do have timed entry,
Okay.
which means that you get a half an hour window to arrive
Okay.
because they're attempting to keep the traffic moving and not clustered and too overfilled.
Mm-hmm.
So they're actually pacing the volume of people who go through so that it's not overly crowded.
That's so that it doesn't feel like you're being rushed or pushed or jammed up.
Right.
It's
Once
very
you're in, you're in.
Right.
But they're looking to keep things
Moving along.
and comfortable so that everyone can enjoy and really enjoy it without feeling hurried.
Great. And it's night forms, so the reservation you'd make would be, let's say, after sunset. That would be the time
It's
to
after
go.
sunset. I think the first reservations start at 5.
Okay.
So I think I went between 5 and 5:30.
Okay.
You can see it when it's dusk.
Uh-huh.
You need to see it when it's dark.
When it's dark, that's when it really
When
comes
it's
to
dark,
life.
I mean, one of those pictures, it wasn't quite dark yet,
Uh-huh.
and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But when it's dark is when the lights are at their most peak illumination and brightness and richness, and it's just great.
It's a terrific place to go. Well, I'm hoping that people who are watching and listening to you talk about it are taking it seriously. I mean, it's one of those. We're in the second half hour of Morning Coffee. We get to talk about another gem
Yes, we
in
do.
in South Jersey that people don't know about but ought to. And another amazing museum experience.
Mm-hmm.
But for this anyway, I mean, I can't tell you how many times driving back and forth to New York, I've driven by the grounds for sculpture and seen some of the large statues that you
Yes.
can see off of the Turnpike
Yes.
and 295 and wondered what they were.
Yes.
Never really understood that there is a gigantic, actually very large art museum, outdoor
Yes.
art museum that includes all these wonderful
That's
things.
right.
And it's very accessible and easy to get to.
That's right.
It's just great.
Yep.
Okay, that's great.